So this video is just preparing you, or just letting you know that you're not alone in terms of the symptoms and life experience in your last few weeks of being pregnant. For me, I am going to be listing off 11 things that I have really experienced and intensified symptoms since kind of week 35. I thought it'd be really important to talk about these things because most people just talk about the first, second, third trimester. But I think that there are much more stages and smaller elements to pregnancy rather than just splitting it up into such large kind of stages of pregnancy. I hope that makes sense. The first thing that I want to talk about, just because I can feel it right now, is my feet. Oh my God, my feet. They are so swollen, and they have been swollen for a long time, don't get me wrong, but they are way more swollen now than they ever have been. And as a result of the swelling, what happens, and what I've kind of noticed in the last week or so, is that my heels are really sore. And the reason they're sore is because the skin is cracking and becoming really, really tight. So wearing shoes is really uncomfortable. Like, my feet are throbbing right now. I've just been on a half an hour walk and they're so hot. So all I want to do is go around in barefoot, but then at the same time, because I'm in barefoot, my heels are suffering. So that's why I want to put shoes on, to protect my heels. So it's like a whole thing, right? So that's number one, is just like the swelling and the feet. And luckily Sam is giving me foot massages when I want, but at the moment, because I'm so tired, I'm going to bed really early, so we're not really sitting down and watching TV and have time for that. The next thing I want to talk about is food. I actually have some cereal here for when I have finished recording. I like soggy cinnamon grahams, or Curiously Cinnamon, because they've rebranded. And your food habits, I mean, this is my personal experience, and I think a lot of women experience that, is that I am so hungry. So hungry. Yesterday I was extremely tired and I bought sushi, chicken crunch rolls from Sushi Platter from Waitrose. I had 3 bags of hula hoops. I had nearly a whole large bottle of chocolate milkshake. For dinner I had fish and chips, and then after dinner I had 2 chocolate Nutella crumpets. It was just so much food, and I'm not used to eating that much kind of processed food. I don't usually eat that badly, but I'm craving salt and processed foods and fats and all of those things, and I just can't not eat it. Like, it's just all I think about eating. I've just had a sausage roll from Greg's. I took the dog on a walked past Greg's and was starving. I was like, I'm gonna go and get a sausage roll. So the amount of food, definitely, your appetite definitely increases in the last few weeks. I have not had any appetite in my first or second trimester. Even in the beginning of my third trimester, this only started at about week 34, 35, where I've really started to see an increase in my appetite. I also have cravings for certain textures. So right now, cereal is a big thing for me. Like, I was thinking about specifically Curiously Cinnamon for maybe about 2 weeks, and then I just was like, I haven't seen it in the shops, I'm ordering it off Amazon. I've never ordered cereal from Amazon before. And then things like soft and, that's the dog, things like soft and crunchy at the same time, things like that I'm really craving at the moment. So like sushi and crisps, like really random things. So yeah, your appetite increases. They do also say that you should be eating more in your last kind of your third trimester. They say around 250 calories more than what you're usually eating. I definitely feel that my body's telling me that I need more calories. And then I've got a new symptom which I haven't experienced at all in my pregnancy, and that is period pains. And it's basically an ache that you get, you know, that kind of like sicky, achy feeling that you get in your back. I've got period pains, probably I have them about 2 to 3 times a day. They last about 15 minutes and that's it. And they're just, apparently it's part of your body preparing you for labour and giving birth. I've also felt nauseous, and I'm going to just tag that in with the period pains. It's like that kind of period nausea that you feel. So that whole experience that we go through once a month, the older I've gotten, the worse that whole experience has got, but I'm feeling it now. It's a good thing. Don't worry about it. It just means your body's getting ready to have a baby. The next thing, number 4, is walking is so hard right now. Not only because my feet are swollen, so my feet are uncomfortable, but just the level of ache in my pelvis is tough. I have no energy. So it's kind of like this whole thing around like swollen feet, achy pelvis, lower back pain, fatigue. All of those things combined is making walking really hard. So what I've had to really accept is that I can't really walk for longer than 30 minutes. I've had to basically split my walks up into 2. So 1 walk in the morning, 1 walk in the afternoon. However, it's a bit tricky because I'm tired in the afternoon. I'm so tired. So I have had to rely heavily on my husband to help with dog walking, even though I'm the main dog walker in the family. So walking is hard, prepare for that. Then, because I've already mentioned it, pelvic pain. With your pelvic pain, this gets worse with walking and standing. So right now, I don't feel any pelvic pain. However, when I'm walking, I do feel kind of like that sharp, achy feeling. It basically feels like pressure through your pelvis. And that is something that you do experience later on in your pregnancy when the baby's bigger. And I think when the baby's head is starting to engage. And the next thing is lightning crotch, which kind of forms a bond with pelvic pain. But lightning crotch is this sharp, sudden pain through your vagina. And it's normal. Some people experience it throughout their whole pregnancy. I've only experienced it in the last 3 weeks. And it's very unusual. It probably happens maybe once a day, if that. And it's usually only when I'm walking. So if I'm sat all day, there's no lightning crotch. Then there's fatigue versus nesting. So I'm going through this whole thing of each day is a new day. Yesterday I was so tired. Today I've had the energy to get up, motivated. I've worked for a couple of hours. I've deep cleaned the house. I've even cleaned the skirting. I have walked the dog. I've done things. I've got so much energy today, but tomorrow might be a completely different story. So I guess it's about balancing the tiredness and the energy and just making the most of when you have the energy. And then when you are really tired, not forcing yourself to do things. That's something I really struggle, because if I have to do a list of things, or if I need to go for a food shop, or I need to walk the dog, or I need to work. Excuse me, I'm talking about fatigue. So it is really unpredictable, and that's why I think it's a really good idea, if you can, to take your maternity leave early, because I'd say from about 37 weeks is a good idea. I am stopping at 39 weeks, so I'm still working until next Thursday. However, I run my own business, so I'm able to kind of shift some things around at certain times. I'm not stuck in an office. I don't have to go into London, all of those things. So I've been able to cut down my workload. If you're unable to do that, I'm really, really sorry. I feel every element and level of pain for you, but also at the same time I'm in awe of you, because I just couldn't do it. And then just making sure that on weekends you're really relaxing and forcing yourself to relax, because even if you've got that energy, it's just about slowing down. Yeah, that fatigue and that nesting when you do have the urge to clean and get your house ready for the baby, it is really random at the moment. They do say though that you're really, really tired, then you suddenly get a week's burst of energy. Maybe this is the start of that, but I'm feeling really tired right now, so I don't think it is. The next one is backache. So I guess this is just an element of your baby is moving your centre of gravity forward, and as a result, you've got a lot more kind of your muscles are being used for longer periods of time. I would 100% recommend doing back exercises and stretches if you can, and I think that's enabled me to not have very severe backache. My backache is only really when I'm walking, but I know women who have backache all throughout the day. They can't find a comfortable position to sit in. I do a lot of strength training, and I do think that has massively helped and reduced the level of intensity from the backache. Something random that I've noticed recently is dry skin. I've got really dry hands, really dry legs. My lips are really dry. They feel really tight, but not in a way that I'm dehydrated, in just a way that my skin is uncontrollably dry. So that might be a pregnancy thing. It's not something that I've heard is quite common, but maybe it is common. I would just mentally prepare yourself for that. I also went on holiday, and then we've had a really sunny few weeks, so I wonder if the sun is also impacting my skin. I know that my skin is different now that I'm pregnant. All those hormones are changing my texture, like the smoothness of my skin, and all of those different things. So there is a difference in skin when it gets to the end, and you may have dry skin, you may experience flakiness. I know that my scalp is a bit flaky. I feel like I've got dandruff, but I don't know, like, I don't know if this is scientific, that's my experience. So I've got two more things that I really want to talk about, which is heartburn and pregnancy insomnia. So I'm going to start with heartburn. I've had heartburn throughout my whole pregnancy. I reached a point where I managed to get my local doctor to prescribe me Gaviscon, so I don't have to keep paying for it because it is expensive. But the heartburn this morning has been really, really bad. And I guess it hasn't increased or decreased at all. It's just constant now and a little bit more regular on a daily basis. The level of heartburn is the same, but that's just something to be aware of. A lot of people have said that they're surprised that I've still got heartburn at such a late stage of pregnancy. I don't know why it's a surprise, but I have got it, and I've had it throughout my whole pregnancy. And I think most people from the conversations I've had with other pregnant ladies have a lot of heartburn. And then finally is pregnancy insomnia, something I didn't know about. So I have had a few nights where I have been really, really restless. I can't find a comfortable position. My mind is in overdrive. I am experiencing like really weird dreams that are waking me up in the night. Really, really bizarre. The other night, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 nights ago, I woke up at 3:30 a.m. and I was wide awake. Wide awake. I didn't go back to sleep. I was up. I came down here at I think about 5 a.m. So I was awake in my bed, 3:30, just trying to get back to sleep. Didn't work. Came downstairs to do like some tidying up, watched a bit of TV. Oh my gosh. My neighbour has just paid for my reflexology appointment. So I booked a reflexology appointment for today, and I can't believe it. She's just gone and paid for it. Mad. Amazing. I feel so spoiled. I don't know where I was. I'm distracted. Pregnancy insomnia. Okay. So, yeah, just super like unsettled. Woke up, came down here, and then I ended up napping for about 2 hours from about 1 p.m. during the day. But I've never ever had that in my whole life. Like, I've always been able to go back to sleep. I've always been able to eventually have some sort of like healthy sleep routine, and I've just never had insomnia. So it's one of those things that you might need to prepare for. It's apparently really normal. Obviously sleep is much harder during the end because your belly's in the way. Finding a comfortable position is hard. There have been a few nights where Sam slept in the spare room. If you have the luxury of having a spare room, I would 100% do that because you do need your sleep. I am, yeah, and also as a result of the pregnancy insomnia, the next night I was so anxious. I was like, I don't want to have another night like last night. I don't want to go through the stress of not being able to sleep. So I did like a lot of, like, I had a sleep tea, I had a bath, I did some relaxation. I have been listening to a lot of hypnobirthing meditations and just like positive labour and birth affirmations, which has been really helpful. That really puts me to sleep. So I would recommend that as a tip to encourage better sleep and deeper sleep if you're really uncomfortable. And also just calm those nerves and anxiety about having a baby, and if you're having a vaginal birth, pushing out of your vagina.